Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today I am with Jimmy of the YouTube channel Lots for Games. How's it going, dude?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. Guys, I am super excited. Today, we're going to be talking about some hidden gems for the arcade, some great games that I absolutely love. I hope you guys enjoy them too.
All right, let's take a look. We want to do a quick shout out to the LaunchBox app, which I have been using on my MAME machine and I absolutely love it.
I've been using it since actually May, almost daily. It's a great way to organize and play all of your great games, and it's just a great little app software to use.
Yeah, and that's why we want to promote it, because again, we believe in it, we use it, and we really like it. So a lot of the footage that you'll see in this was either captured with me on my machine using the big box version of it, or yours.
Absolutely, my system at home, and again, it's something I use often.
Yeah.
It's very simple and easy to use.
All right, well, let's take a look at the games.
Okay guys, the first game we're going to go over with you today is a very fun and colorful beat 'em up, and it is called Ninja Baseball Batman.
The name is so confusing. Like when you told me this, I was like, what?
It's actually, no, this is actually a very rare game for the United States. It did well in Japan, but in the United States, it actually only sold around 40 arcade units.
40?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But if you are a fan of beat 'em ups, this is definitely a no-brainer. Up to 4 players at one given time. You have, of course, just like with other beat 'em ups, your basic attacks, your special moves. But it is such a wacky game with all these wacky enemies. At one point at one of the levels, you're up inside of an airplane, flying up in the sky. And if that wasn't enough with all these wacky enemies at you, you fight this, you're fighting in an airplane, another airplane, like this airplane character fighting, and it's just, that's the game. It's just a wacky, fun beat 'em up.
You were showing me this, and I was just like, oh my god, so creative. And I love games like that where, we've seen so many of the typical whatever kind of enemies, and it's nice to see them be creative.
Right, yeah, colorful sprites.
Yeah.
Really just, and it looks good. It holds up.
It does.
And it's by Irem, and it's definitely one, guys, you should check out if you're a fan of beat 'em ups. Something to play with your friends.
Okay, cool.
So, any of you guys that are fans of the Metal Slug series,
me.
This one is definitely for you, and many of you guys might not be familiar with it. The name of this title is Demon Front,
which is a little odd.
Kind of a generic title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one is fantastic. Very fast, fun, exciting action, and the levels are very diverse.
Yeah.
Very unique enemies. Of course, with the Metal Slug games, there's like lots of mechanical things and some supernatural, but you have a lot more of the supernatural atmosphere with this one.
Yeah, and just so you know, the footage that you guys are watching right now is the two of us playing this, and we were having a ball. Like I didn't want to stop playing.
No, fantastic. Of course, just like with Metal Slug, you get these special weapons. Some of these special weapons are so over the top, but at the end of each level, you've got these massive monster bosses that are just huge and just coming at you, and very satisfying when you can finally take one of these down.
The other thing I like about this game too is it's very subtle, but there's a float mechanic. So when you jump, if you hold the button, you float for a little bit.
Exactly.
And a lot of the game relies on that. Like it takes a little bit of time to realize that, oh, you need to do that to fight bosses or to attack a little bit above. It seems small, subtle, but it works. It works.
Because when you got dozens of bullets coming at you, sometimes you need that little extra half second to kind of float a little bit to dodge.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with this game. I was happy you showed it to me.
Great two-player fun action. Again, if you're a fan of the Metal Slug games, check out Demon Front. Okay, the next one actually has nothing to do with Sylvester Stallone, but it actually has the name of one of his blockbusters. It's called The Cliffhanger, Edward Randy. Kind of a weird name.
That is a weird name for an arcade game.
But this one is it's very unique in the sense it's a crazy action game where, like, think about if you want like a fast-paced action game with like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You've got a whip. And you've got these soldiers coming at you at all different directions. There's crazy music playing.
You're fighting on boats. You are jumping onto a guy who's like, I think, hang gliding above you.
Yes.
I mean, it's very vertical. It almost feels a little bit like a platformer in that you're constantly kind of bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah, from different little areas you can hop from here to there. But it kind of lends itself to a variety in the sense like you don't have to stay here. You want to hop up actually on that hang glider where that guy was, you can go there.
Yeah. And then there's also that level where you're showing me where you're driving.
Yes.
You know, again, the variety is amazing.
Great variety with the different levels you'll play. And again, there is never a dull moment. I know a lot of games never, but this one kind of like ups the ante big time.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Yeah, a whole lot of fun, lots of action. I think you guys will really enjoy the Cliffhanger. Edward Randy.
That is such a weird name. I'm never going to remember that. By the way, we will put the link to all of these that you're listing here down in the description below.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to remember them.
Yes, weird name, but check in the video description below.
Yeah.
Okay, so for any of you guys that remember Landstalker on the Sega Genesis, the next one I'm talking about is Lightbringer. And this is a great multiplayer game, very colorful. You can select different characters to choose from, kind of like a mix between Landstalker and, say, for instance, Gauntlet, Adventure. But the great thing is you've got these different, and it kind of like a little bit of a beat 'em up, but the great thing about this one is you can level up your character.
Yeah.
And also, each level, not only is there a boss at the end, it's very non-linear in the sense there's multiple paths that you'll get to choose. Do you want to take a left? Do you want to take a right? And so there's these multiple rooms and different experiences you're going to have, which is kind of cool for an arcade game because it lends itself to variety.
And puzzles as well, like, you know, jumping puzzles or just trying to get the door. Like sometimes the door will be closed. You're not sure where the lever is, so it might be hidden behind something. You have also too, what really struck me was just how big the sprites were and how colorful and beautiful this game is. Like, it's super detailed. I was really impressed.
Very pleasing to the eye.
Very much so.
Great looking. It plays well, and it works well with multiple players. So yeah, if you've got friends that, you know, are fans of like games like this, I think you guys will have a blast.
Yeah, we were playing this multiplayer as well, and I was loving it. Again, another game I just didn't want to turn off.
yeah, totally. So much fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, so the next one is actually a sequel to a very well-known game. Are you familiar with Elevator Action?
Oh yes, I played this as a kid in the arcades.
Fantastic, but did you know that there was a sequel called Elevator Action Returns?
I had no idea.
Okay, this one was actually released 12 years after the original.
That's why.
And yeah, and it was actually also, of course, in the arcades, but it was also brought to the Sega Saturn. And this is a very, it takes the excitement level to multiple levels above the original Elevator Action.
Really? Okay.
Where not only, of course, you're in the first level, you're in different elevators going down, but then it switches things up. Then soon you're at an airport, and you're not just going up and down, you're going from left to right, getting data, getting power-ups. You got machine guns, there's grenades. At one point, there's enemies coming at you, like multiple enemies on jetpacks, and they've got machine guns. It's a very exciting 2D game, and it can be played with 2 players.
That is amazing because I remember the original. I thought it was okay, but it's cool that they took that idea and just went with it and did something even better.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's a pretty short, you know, a lot of arcade games are kind of short. It's kind of short, but it's an exciting ride.
All right, I will check it out.
Awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of beat 'em ups out there, but to be quite honest, this is one of my favorites. It's called Zero Team. And on the surface, you're like, oh, it just kind of looks like your basic beat 'em up. But this one is a little bit special to me in the sense of, you know, it kind of takes things to the next level in the sense that the different items you can interact with. You can grab like a barrel, throw it at an enemy, and the barrel will stick and go over the enemy. And it'll also have like special moves that you would find in like Street Fighter, like fireballs and uppercuts. And not just that, kind of reminds me of Golden Axe when you got like, you know, you call down lightning or you call down fire, which is kind of cool. You don't really see in a whole lot of beat 'em ups out there. This one's really fantastic, guys. And again, on the surface, it might look very basic, but it's definitely one of the more fun ones that I've played.
And you love your beat 'em ups, and I have to tell on you a little bit that originally when he came up with this list, it was like all or almost all beat 'em ups. It was pretty funny, and
we need some variety here, Jimmy.
yeah. But also, I mean, to that point, you know your beat 'em ups, and so if you say it's one of your favorites, I was like, okay, I'm paying attention now.
Yeah, definitely check out Zero Tomb, guys. I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Okay, cool.
For any of you guys out there that are fans of shmups, fun, exciting shooters, I would definitely recommend the next one, and that is Mars Matrix. Now, you actually have a little bit of history with this one.
Oh yeah, when you showed me this, I was like, oh my god, Mars Matrix, because I love this game on the Dreamcast. It's one of the more a little bit collectible shooters on the Dreamcast, so it's one of them I had to kind of save up for, and when I got it, I was not disappointed. And I honestly, it's probably in my top 10. I love this game.
Wow,
yeah.
fantastic.
Now, it's hard. It hurts. Like, it makes me cry.
Yes.
Like any good shooter should, right?
Yes.
But it also is one of those kind of shooters where it teases you a little bit. It seems easy in the beginning, and so you get your confidence. You're like, oh yeah, I got this game, right? And then you get to like level 3, 4, and pretty soon you're crying like a child. But I don't care. I still love it anyways.
Certainly a bullet hell shooter.
Absolutely.
You've got so many different bullets and things coming at you. It's very, very exciting, but there's a whole lot of variety to it. And
Yeah.
again, this is a no-brainer if you're a fan of shooters. Just a blast. And it was released by Capcom. I mean, I know Capcom was varied with their different games, but I don't quite remember Capcom releasing a whole lot of games like this.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like every other bullet hell shooter to me. And I'm not sure why that necessarily is. It could be because the graphics kind of have that sort of pre-rendered Donkey Kong Country look to them.
That's true.
And I really dig that, actually. I
do too.
Yeah, and so it has a special place in a shmup fans collection, I think, because of that, because it is so unique.
And believe it or not, the visuals to me, they still hold up really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Still looks great.
Yeah, it totally does.
Okay, so for any of you guys that are fans of Konami's Sunset Riders, I think you'll be a big fan of the next one. It's Mystic Warriors. Now, this one is you play as a ninja, and this has up to 3-player co-op. And the levels are so diverse. You know, you start things off standard, going from left to right, fighting off baddies, fighting off bosses, but things start to really switch up quickly. The following stage, the second stage, you're on snow skis.
Oh yes, you showed me this game.
Going down a hill.
I immediately loved this.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, so I'm taking down guys. As I'm on skis, I'm throwing down ninja stars.
Which, you know what? One of my favorite movies was James Bond, and I think it was Roger Moore, and it's one of those classic where he's skiing down the hill like James Bond and shooting bad guys. And
awesome.
Even though you're not playing James Bond, but I was like, I love this.
Absolutely. You know, there's explosions.
Yeah.
And the levels are very, very diverse. And the game still looks fantastic even today. This is one actually that I played in the arcades, but I think through the years a lot of people have forgotten about it. It's definitely worth your time. A whole lot of fun, especially if you remember, because Sunset Riders was very popular. Sunset Riders was also a game that was on the Super Nintendo.
Right.
But if you're a fan of those types of games, definitely check out Mystic Warrior. Okay, the next one's actually an interesting one. Not actually a whole lot of games that I've played like this in the arcades. It's called Magical Crystals.
Oh, right.
And another game that's kind of like a bland name, but you play as this little magician. You're up in the sky above the earth, and you are platforming. You're trying your best to kind of jump on the different platforms in areas and to not fall down. And as you're walking and fighting off enemies with your basic and special attacks, you see like the scrolling, you know, miles below where the earth is, and it's really, it looks good.
Yeah, it really stands out.
Yeah, and it's something that, again, this is something you don't see all the time, but just a little fun little adventure game that has a whole lot of charm to it.
And as soon as you showed it to me, I was thinking Pocky and Rocky.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah, and which is a game that a lot of people love, and it's fairly unique as well. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I have to try this game.
Totally. Fun. Yeah, see, so imagine Pocky and Rocky
Yep.
up in the sky, and you're of course different settings, but that type of thing where you're shooting enemies in front of you, and it kind of a little bit of a mix of a shooter but adventure where you have platforming, you're jumping.
Yeah, it's a cool game.
A lot of fun.
All right, this next one I'm very excited to hear you say because it's hilarious.
Okay, Wild West Cowboys of Mesa.
That's an arcade game.
It is, and in fact, at one point it was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Ah, makes sense.
And so a very fun and colorful shooter adventure where you play as a bull, and these levels are very just fun to play through because not only do you have an end level boss with these end level bosses, some of them are massive.
Right.
You get a mid level boss too, so you get to the mid level boss and you're like, oh man, I guess I'm at the end. No, that was just the mid level boss, and the mid level boss is something that you see in most games at the end of the level.
Okay.
Just character. And it's very fun, and this is another great game you can play with your friends. But what I really like about Wild West Cowboys of Mesa,
I'm glad you said it again.
thank you, is that the game does not force you like you have to do this level, you have to do this level. You get to choose for yourself which levels you want to play, in what order you want to play them, which I like that. You're like, oh, you want to go to this level? Okay, go here, go there, which is fantastic because if you play throughout the game, if there's a level you like, and then the next time you play, you're like, you know what? I really like this stage with this boss. I want to play this one with my friends. I don't have to play through, from chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It kind of lends itself to it's non-linear.
Yeah, that's cool, especially for an arcade game.
Exactly. You don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
A
lot of fun.
A lot of personality too, which is cool.
Definitely. The bosses are talking smack to you.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool.
All right, dude. Well, thank you so much for coming over here and helping me weed through the thousands of games that I have on my MAME machine to find some awesome hidden gems.
Absolutely. It was a whole lot of fun. There's so many great arcade games to choose from.
I know. It's like, and we are both always looking for them. So if you have some favorite hidden gems that you play in your arcade MAME machines or whatever, please let us know down in the comments below because we'd love to know that. Absolutely. We love new suggestions. There's a lot of great games. I would love to hear from you guys. So I'll be checking those comments definitely. If any of you guys are interested, I have a series on my channel, lots of games. That's where you can find me on YouTube, and it's a super cheap game series where I talk about games for the PS4 or Xbox One or 360 PS3, and they're games you can pick up for less than 20 bucks. Games that I highly recommend that you can check out if you're looking to build up your collection, whether it's for the PS4 or Xbox One, that I think you guys would have a whole lot of fun with. So that's where you could find me on YouTube. Absolutely, and it's not just because you're here, but I've been subscribed to you for an awful long time, haven't I? Yes, you have. A long time. Thank you. And I watch all of those videos. I love them, so you guys should too as well. All right, man. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care. Thanks. You know, I'm often surprised just how much my MAME arcade cab, how much use that thing gets. And I think it's because it's just so convenient to just walk up and be able to choose to play a bunch of really awesome arcade games. Also too, there's nothing quite like standing up and using an arcade controller the way it was meant to be played. And so usually when I have a party, this machine gets a ton of use. All right guys, thanks for watching.